So, today I'm going to talk about one of the many issues in our global health. It is sexual violence within conflicted areas. What is the issue? Nowadays, our world has a ton of global health issues. Most of them are taking place in areas of conflict such as Afghanistan, Somalia, Syria, Sudan, and more. Although, there is one specific issue that I would like to talk about with you guys. This global health issue all relates to sex trafficking, sexual violence, and terrorism. Thousands of people are forced into doing things that they do not want to do, but they have no choice to do these things because none of them have the protection that is needed. Most of you would think that sexual violence is all directed towards women, but men and children can be violated as well. There are many types of sexual violence, such as rape, sexual slavery, forced prostitution, forced pregnancy, forced abortion, enforced sterilization, forced marriages. It also has been an act of terrorism. So I have decided to focus most of my attention to two regions that are known to suffer from horrific things. The regions are Syria and Libya. A quote that I found says, "Syrian society does not offer a safe setting for those stories to become public, but rather normalizes rape and often blames the victim through a culture built on honor and shame." This quote was said by Dr. Sabah Halek. This basically means that survivors are literally silenced because they are encouraged to hide and reshape their past on their own. They have no choice but to forget what they have been through. Rape in Syria has become a weapon to achieve their military or political goals. Terrorism is really popular in Syria and Libya because they are known to have a build of mafias within those countries. Women that have been forced to silence were never accepted by their families again, and they forced themselves to move forward with their life. If I were to evaluate on some of the current policies now within Syria and Libya and the US well, here we go. One of the current policies that I found is that the Islamic State uses a system of sexual slavery. This means, or it's a program to force women in marriage to attract fighters and to reward their militants. Most of the women are put on constant birth control regimens. This just proves that this state actually supports sexual slavery. I don't agree with that at all. Another current policy is that they try and target environments and circumstances with high risk for sexual violence. This policy focuses on creating a safe space in schools and workplaces. This policy tries to improve the safety and monitoring for sexual violence in school, especially college campuses. The only problem with this policy is that how can you strengthen the economic support for women and families? Where is the money coming from? And how much support will be needed in order for it to last a long time? Another current policy is that they invest in further evaluations to build the evidence base. Other types of violence, such as youth violence, HIV prevention, sexual violence prevention is less developed. Policymakers wish to investigate more on sexual violence in different communities and different populations. I agree with this policy because for other global issues, people have to investigate. The only way that they do that is to actually go on the scene. That is what's needed to be done for sexual violence to come to an end. If I were to relate this problem to any sustainable development goal, it's to number 5, gender equality. Obviously, sexual violence will be listed under gender equality. Sexual violence is related to gender equality because it tends to go back to a girl being forced into early marriage and how women are being overlooked for these type of problems. 1 in 5 women and girls between the ages of 15 to 49 report to have experience in physical or sexual violence by others. Another goal that I would relate this to is to number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. This sustainable development goal is directed to the threats of international violence against children, human trafficking, and sexual violence, so it is able to address the problems. This is related because sexual violence needs to be put to rest and justice for men, women, and children have been through. Not only that, but sexual violence is also a form of terrorism. If I were to conduct any Additional solutions for this global health issue is that we as a nation need to focus more on low-income countries. Sometimes the smallest countries and low-income countries are the ones that suffer from violence, education, hunger, etc. Yes, we enforce policies and legislation for the gender equality, but we need to make sure that people act as well. The only way to seek that people are actually listening to these is for the government or legislation to visit the countries in need. They need to go on the scene to see what is actually happening. Compare and contrasting how policies differ is that some of the policies are really different in Syria because, quote, they cannot identify cases associated with sexual violence against men in Aleppo because the issue itself is taboo in the community, end quote. Syria and Libya have become a country of mafias, so they say. Basically, Syria and Libya have people who cannot even say anything about their experience with sexual violence because it is prohibited. Not only that, but Syria was placed into Tier 3. Tier 3 basically indicates that the government does not fully meet the minimum standards and are not making significant efforts to do so. This has failed to become a meaningful program to protect or give aid to women and girls. We as a nation need to fix this problem because it keeps growing day after day. These are my bibliographies. Thank you.